King of Kentucky 12 years small batch. Yeah, those are words no one expected to be saying this year. Welcome back to That Bourbon Dude. My name is Charles. Today we're talking about some information that just recently dropped like 2 days ago, and that is the King of Kentucky 12-year small batch. And that's going to be some crazy controversy, I think, for a lot of whiskey people. We're going to dive into that a little bit today, but before we get into that, like always, you'll take a look right here. This is my community Facebook group. It's just That Bourbon Dude private Facebook group. It's where we do all of our community fun stuff, hanging out, talking about everything that's going on. A lot of behind-the-scenes stuff with me, and staying up to date on a lot of stuff I don't put on the channel. So that's one way to stay up to date on everything. And then second, if you take a look right here, that's What Drop. What Drop is the main group that we use to release information on what's dropping at the distilleries. So if you're tired of going from page to page to page, now you can just simply go to one spot. All the information's in one spot. It's going to be linked in the description. I'm also going to leave a link to my link tree, which will include all of my different socials. Not just that, but each individual state has a What Drop group. So depending on what state you're in, if you travel to multiples, join those groups and you can stay up to date on what's happening in those areas as well. Last thing, if you're not a subscriber, go ahead and hit that like, share, subscribe, join this community. We're doing cool stuff here all the time, and I would greatly appreciate it. So let's talk about King of Kentucky. And I think it's important that if we're going to talk about King of Kentucky, that we get a little bit of context and a little bit of history on it. Excuse me, because I don't honestly think a lot of people know much about it because it's such a very difficult bottle to get your hands on. So I'm going to give you a kind of a little bit of a history lesson and timeline, and then I'm going to give you my 2 cents on what this 12-year small batch product is, and do I think it's worth checking out? Do I think it's great for the market? Anything I kind of think that kind of pertains to this, I'm going to spill it close to the end. So let's dive into it. So the brand itself has been around a long time. 1881 is when the brand was introduced, and there wasn't really a whole lot of stuff going on in 1881, but until then, and they didn't do much. 1936, though, is when Brown-Forman purchased the brand, and they continued the brand on for a few years until 1940. Now, 1940 is a special, pivotal, important time because in 1940, they changed it from a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey to a blended whiskey, which is what we kind of call now a small batch product, okay? So that's important for this. You guys keep in touch with this. This is important, okay? So from 1940 until 1968, the product continued on, but the sales dwindled and lost interest, and they discontinued that product until 2017. Now, you're going to say, why is 2017 important? Well, they didn't introduce it then, but what they did, they introduced, and I'm going to show you guys this bottle because it's important for this timeline. They introduced this bottle here, and everyone knows it as the Black Cap. And why is this important? Because this shares the same mash bill as King of Kentucky. Now, that came out as a bottled and bond product, which it's at least 4 years old, 100 proof. Okay, now what happened right after that is what is really starting to trigger all this. They started putting out the King of Kentucky, right? That's in 2018. Now, this is not a 2018 bottle. This is mine from 2023. Great bottle. This is the only one I've ever got, okay? Was able to get it a good deal, but that's the only one I got. That came out in 2008. That's when the lineup re-emerged onto the scene, on the whiskey scene, okay? Now, why is that important? Well, that's when they started releasing these single barrels, and they no longer offered it, obviously, as a blended whiskey after 1986. I'm sorry, 1968, okay? So fast track to now, it's a single barrel. They shied away from that blended product, okay? And then in 2024, what pops up next? This, right? Y'all remember this? All the craziness going on. Also, same mash bill as King of Kentucky, right? Now, why is all this important? Why am I leading up all this? These products all share the same mash bill, and there's rumors that the only real difference is that they have a different yeast strain. But I have asked a lot of people in the industry, and no one has confirmed this to be true. Now, do I think there's something to it? Maybe. But if no one's willing to say it and no one can confirm it, and it's just a bunch of rumors, I'm just not putting much stock in it. I truly believe that they're all the same at this point because they do share the same mash bill, and they've continued on, and they've been open and transparent in saying that they do. Now, 2025, here we are. Just a couple days ago, you guys see, well, right over here. Right over here. You see that? That is the new TTB label that's submitted for approval. That is the 12-year small batch, aka a blended whiskey, right? Now, I have read so many comments. People are like, oh, this is diluting the brand. This is going to ruin it. I don't believe so. I believe this is actually a positive thing because it takes it back a little bit to its original, history, because it was a blended product for a long period of time. Now, it was a straight bourbon whiskey, which from 1881 until 1940, it was a straight bourbon whiskey, which is still probably a blended product. It didn't call it a single barrel, right? So it's still always been that until they introduced it in 2018 as a single barrel. So for the last few years, we've enjoyed it as a single barrel. But the issue is not all single barrels or all products that are coming out are of the quality that could be put out as a single barrel. So they're probably setting on a lot of stock that they have no ability to put it out because, there's only so much of this they can put out, right? And they no longer own the Early Times label. That's now a Sazerac product, and Sazerac has purchased the rights to be able to reproduce this mash bill, but obviously they will be using their own yeast strain, so we'll see a difference there. But the point what I'm making is I think it's important to pay attention to history of this product because bringing out this 12-year is really paying homage to the history of the product itself. And if we do nothing in the whiskey world is we just talk about the history. And then the moment that they take this product, this King of Kentucky, from being a single barrel and introduce an addition to this lineup as a blended whiskey, a small batch product, people forget that we care so much about the history of the product. They're like, oh no, it's diluting the brand. It's making it not special anymore. I don't think that's going to have any effect. They're still going to be holding back these special barrels to put back for the single barrel. That's not going to change. Brown-Forman does an amazing job at this, and they always have, and they always will. So the scared people at this point, the FOMO, all the crap that's going on with everybody worried about this is going to ruin this product. I don't believe that's going to ruin it at all. I think what's going on is with the slump in the market, they have a ton of product on the books, and it's time to get it off the books and put it into the hands of the consumer, which is a positive thing, right? And then them having the access to all these amazing barrels, and there's nothing wrong with these barrels. Maybe they weren't perfect enough to be put out as a single barrel, but as a blended product, they're amazing. We drink blended stuff all the time and no one cries about it. But as soon as they do it under the King of Kentucky label, everyone is up in arms about it for maybe no reason. I could be proven wrong here in 6 months to a year when this comes out, and then they release the next edition from 2026 of King of Kentucky single barrels, and that might be trash. But I don't believe that will be the thing. I think Brown-Forman knows exactly what they're doing. They're using the stock that they have that's not of the quality they want to put out as the single barrels. They're going to turn it into these 12-year products. And then the rumors that I'm hearing right now is it's 12 to 18-year-old juice that's being blended together to make this product. So that's a huge positive for me. That gives them the flexibility to be able to do some incredibly creative things and make incredible profiles for us to sip on. Not only with that, I think we're going to see increased availability. I don't know that we're going to see it on the level that we see these. I mean, these are not everywhere yet. They're still limited, but at least few people get their hands on them, right? Now, the King of Kentucky's for this year, what is it, like 5,000, 5,100? That's not very many bottles. There's a lot of whiskey people that would love to get their hands on it. If we could see 25, 50,000 of the small batches come out, that would really go a long ways to help the consumers get some products in their hands. Now, a lot of people are going to ask me, Charles, what do you think the price is going to be? If I'm going to make an educated guess, and that's all this is, I would say it's going to come out somewhere in that neighborhood around what a President's Choice is, maybe slightly higher. So let's say $225 to that $300 mark, I think would probably be pretty spot on. I don't think they would go much higher than that. If they go higher at all, I think that's probably where the market would be best suited for it. Now, I could be wrong about that. I could be wrong about all this. This is just my thinking on this. I think that it probably is pretty close to accurate. I would say that there's a lot that's behind the scenes that I don't know. I've got a few people feeding me some information at this point, and I wanted to put this video out for you guys so you can have something to go off of and something to kind of maybe calm your nerves a little bit, because boy, the internet is on fire right now with people just really upset that this is coming out. And I don't think it's a bad thing at all. I think it is absolutely spectacular. And I would just like to say thank you, Brown-Forman, for taking this leap and putting out some additional products for us to get our hands on. It's super awesome that you guys have the ability to put this out there, because this is something that I think we have personally needed as whiskey consumers for a while, is an addition to this lineup. And the fact that you're doing it this way, bringing a minimum age statement, continuing with the age statement. I mean, previously it didn't have age statement back in the day, but now that it's going to have a minimum age statement, that's super awesome. And then the fact that you're going to be able to get more of it out to more people, that's even better. So super thanks to Brown-Forman for that. Guys, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Do you think this is good or bad? Do you think this is going to ruin the brand, dilute the special whatever about it? I don't think it is. Prove me wrong. Tell me what you think in the comments section. I would love to hear it. And we'll talk about it more on the next one. You guys take care. We'll see you next time. Bourbon Dude out.